Vincent Hayes straightened his navy blue suit jacket as he stepped out of his Tesla. The evening air carried the scent of rain, though the sky remained clear. Downtown streets buzzed with people heading home from work, but Vincent was just beginning his evening. His assistant had insisted he attend this art gallery opening. Networking, she called it. Vincent called it necessary torture. A familiar stranger. The Meridian Gallery stood between two modern buildings, its brick facade a reminder of the city's industrial past. Warm light spilled from tall windows, and through the glass, Vincent could see well-dressed people holding wine glasses, admiring paintings on white walls. He checked his phone one last time before heading inside. The gallery hummed with quiet conversations. Soft jazz played from hidden speakers. Vincent accepted a glass of red wine from a server and began walking through the exhibits. Abstract paintings hung on the walls. Bold colors that meant nothing to him, but probably held deep significance to someone. The approach. She appeared beside him so quietly that Vincent almost jumped when she spoke. Beautiful, is it not? Her voice was soft, cultured, with warmth that made him turn. The woman stood at average height, wearing a simple black dress that somehow managed to be both elegant and understated. Her auburn hair was pulled back in a loose style, and her green eyes studied him with an intensity that made Vincent uncomfortable. "I am afraid I do not understand modern art very well," Vincent admitted with a polite smile. He was about to excuse himself when she spoke again. "Vincent Hayes. I thought it was you." He paused. Something in the way she said his name, with familiarity and something else he could not identify, made him look at her more carefully. Did he know her? Business conference? Client meeting? "I apologize, but have we met before?" Vincent asked, using his standard response for forgotten acquaintances. The question that changed. Everything, her smile changed. It became softer, sadder, carrying weight that puzzled him. "Yes, we have met. A long time ago," she extended her hand. "Claire Morrison. Though when we knew each other, I was Claire Bennett." Vincent shook her hand, searching his memory. Bennett. The name stirred something, like leaves shifting in distant corners of his mind. But nothing clear emerged. "I manage this gallery," Claire continued, gesturing around them. "When I saw your name on the guest list, I wondered if you would come, and if you would remember me." There was no accusation in her tone, no bitterness, just a statement of fact that made Vincent feel he was missing something important. "I am sorry, but I cannot place you," he said honestly. "Please help me understand." Pieces of the past Claire looked at him for a long moment, then nodded toward a quieter corner of the gallery. They walked together, and Vincent noticed she moved with quiet confidence, someone comfortable in her own space. "Lakewood High School," she said once they were away from the crowd. "Class of 2007. You were senior class president. I was the girl who spent lunch periods in the library." Vincent felt his stomach tighten. Lakewood High. That was almost 20 years ago, a lifetime of experiences separating him from that teenager. He remembered being popular, busy, always surrounded by friends. But specific faces? Specific people outside his circle? Those memories had faded like old photographs. "We went to the same school," he said slowly, "but I am having trouble remembering specific details." "That makes sense," Claire replied, no hurt in her voice. "I was not someone people noticed. My family struggled financially. My clothes came from donation centers. I worked nights and weekends to help pay bills. Being invisible was easier than being seen and judged." The weight of forgotten moments. Vincent listened, guilt beginning to form in his chest. How many people had he walked past in those hallways? How many faces had blurred together in his rush toward college applications and scholarship interviews? "I sat 2 rows behind you in Mr. Patterson's English class," Claire continued. "You always participated in discussions. Your essays were brilliant. I admired that about you." A memory flickered. Mr. Patterson, demanding and tough, who made everyone analyze literature until their heads hurt. The classroom with windows facing the parking lot. But Claire? He could not see her there. "There was one day," she said, her voice becoming quieter, more intimate. "March of senior year. It was pouring rain. I had walked to school because the bus never came to my neighborhood. I was soaked, carrying my backpack and a plastic bag with my work uniform inside. Vincent watched her face as she spoke, seeing the memory play across her features. I slipped on the stairs near the main entrance. Everything fell. My books, papers, the bag with my uniform, everything scattered in the rain and mud. The moment of connection, Claire's eyes met his. People walked past me. Some laughed. Most just ignored me. I was crying, not from the fall, but from embarrassment. From being so tired of struggling while everyone else seemed to have easy lives. She paused, and Vincent held his breath. You stopped, she said softly. You were with your friends heading to your car. But you turned around. You helped me gather everything. You gave me your jacket to cover my wet clothes. You drove me home, even though I lived on the opposite side of town. The memory hit Vincent like a wave. Suddenly he could see it. The rain, the scattered books, a girl with dark hair plastered to her face, tears mixing with rainwater. He remembered the fierce pride in her voice when she tried to refuse his help. I remember, Vincent whispered, the words escaping before he could stop them. Do you? Claire asked, and now there was emotion in her voice. Because that day changed everything for me. Vincent set his wine glass on a nearby pedestal, his hand trembling slightly. The memory was becoming clearer now, like fog lifting from a landscape he thought he had forgotten. Claire watched him with those patient green eyes, waiting for him to process what she had shared. I remember driving you home, Vincent said slowly. Your street was unpaved. The houses were small. You thanked me 3 times before getting out of the car. Claire nodded, a soft smile touching her lips. 4 times, actually. You probably do not remember the 4th because I said it through the window as you drove away. The deeper truth. They moved to a bench positioned between 2 large paintings. The gallery noise faded into background murmur as Claire continued her story. That day was supposed to be my last at Lakewood High, she said, her voice steady but filled with old pain. I had decided to drop out. My mother needed more help. Medical bills were crushing us. I thought getting a full-time job was the only answer. Vincent felt his chest tighten. He had been so focused on his own future back then, on escaping to college and building something bigger. The struggles happening right beside him had been invisible. But when you helped me that day, something shifted inside me, Claire continued. You did not look at me with pity. You did not treat me like a charity case. You saw me as a person who needed help, and you gave it without making me feel small. Words that resonated. Claire turned to face him fully now, and Vincent saw the emotion swimming in her eyes. While we were in your car, you asked me about my plans after graduation. I told you I probably would not graduate, that I needed to work full-time. Do you remember what you said? Vincent searched his memory, fragments coming back, the sound of rain on the windshield, the way she had hugged her wet backpack like a shield. I said something about not giving up, he ventured. You said that giving up on education was giving up on yourself, Claire corrected gently. You told me that struggling now did not mean struggling forever. That knowledge was the one thing nobody could take away from me once I had it. She looked down at her hands, elegant fingers interlaced. Then you did something I never expected. You reached into your glove compartment and pulled out a business card for a scholarship counselor. You said this person had helped your cousin find funding for college. You wrote your phone number on the back and told me to call if I needed help with applications. The ripple effect Vincent remembered now. He had been working on scholarship applications himself, learning about resources and opportunities. Sharing that information had seemed natural, easy. He had not thought about it again after that day. I kept that card, Claire said. I looked at it every morning for a week. Part of me thought it was just empty words, something people say to feel good about themselves. But another part of me, the part that still had hope, decided to try. She stood and walked to the window, looking out at the city lights beginning to glow in the twilight. Vincent followed, standing beside her. I called the counselor. She was amazing. She helped me find scholarships I never knew existed. Grants for students in difficult financial situations. Programs that paid for books and supplies. Within 3 months, I had enough funding to not only finish high school, but to attend community college. Vincent watched Claire's reflection in the window glass, seeing pride and strength in her posture. I graduated from Lakewood, she continued. Then I spent 2 years at community college working part-time and studying full-time. My grades were excellent because I finally had hope, something to work toward instead of just surviving each day. She turned to him, and her smile was radiant now, transformed by the memory of those achievements. I transferred to State University on a full scholarship. Art history major. I fell in love with the way art tells human stories, the way it preserves moments and emotions across time. I graduated with honors, got my master's degree, and now I manage this gallery, surrounded by beauty and creativity every day. The weight of gratitude. Vincent felt emotions swelling in his chest. Pride for what she had accomplished. Humility at being part of her journey. And something else, something deeper he could not yet name. Claire, I had no idea, he said softly. I mean, I am honored to have helped, but what you accomplished, that was all you. Your strength, your determination? Yes, she agreed. But determination needs a spark sometimes. A moment that shows you another path is possible. You gave me that spark, Vincent. That day in the rain, you showed me that someone believed I was worth helping, worth saving. Unexpected emotions. They stood together in silence, the gallery's soft lighting creating an intimate bubble around them. Vincent found himself studying Claire more closely now. The confidence in her bearing, the intelligence in her eyes, the grace with which she moved through the world she had built for herself. "Why did you want to see me tonight?" he asked. "After all these years, you could have let the past stay in the past." Claire considered the question, her gaze thoughtful. "Because gratitude should be expressed, not just felt. And because I wanted you to know that small acts of kindness matter more than we realize. You probably forgot about me 10 minutes after dropping me home that day. But I have thought about you countless times over the years. Wondered how you were. Hoped you were happy." A different perspective. Vincent felt something crack inside him, a wall he had not known he was maintaining. His life had become about deals and profits, about building his company and expanding his wealth. When had he stopped seeing people the way he had seen Claire that rainy day? "I built a successful company," he said, the words coming slowly. "I have money, recognition, all the things I thought would make me happy. But somewhere along the way, I stopped really seeing people. I stopped connecting the way I used to." Claire placed a gentle hand on his arm. "Then maybe this meeting is for you as much as it is for me. Maybe we both needed this reminder. The gallery's meaning," she gestured around the gallery space. "This place exists because of the path you helped me find. Every artist I support, every young person I mentor, every scholarship I fund through the gallery's foundation, all of it traces back to that moment when someone showed me I mattered." Vincent looked around with new eyes. The paintings were not just abstract colors anymore. They were expressions of human experience, stories told through art, just as Claire had described. And this space was her legacy, built on a foundation of remembered kindness. "I have a confession," Claire said, a slight blush coloring her cheeks. "When my assistant told me you had RSVP'd for tonight, I almost called to cancel. I was nervous about seeing you again, afraid you would not remember, afraid that maybe you had become someone who would not care about that girl in the rain." "And now?" Vincent asked, his heart beating faster than he expected. A new beginning. Claire smiled, and it was like sunrise breaking through clouds. "Now I see that the person who stopped to help that day is still in there. Maybe buried under business suits and busy schedules, but still there, still capable of caring." Vincent felt something shift in his chest, like pieces falling into place that he had not known were scattered. "Thank you," he said quietly, "for remembering, for sharing this with me, for showing me what really matters." The gallery was beginning to empty, guests drifting toward the exit. But Vincent and Claire remained by the window, two people connected by a moment neither would forget again. "Would you like to get coffee sometime?" Vincent asked, the question surprising him even as he said it. "I would love to hear more about your work here, about the artists you support." Claire's smile widened. "I would like that very much." As they exchanged phone numbers, Vincent felt something he had not experienced in years. Not just gratitude or nostalgia, but genuine connection. The possibility of something real emerging from memories that had waited patiently to be acknowledged. 3 days later, Vincent found himself walking into a small coffee shop called the Morning Light. It was different from the corporate chains he usually frequented. Exposed brick walls held local artwork. Mismatched furniture gave the space character. The smell of freshly ground coffee mixed with cinnamon and something floral he could not identify. Claire was already there, sitting at a corner table with 2 steaming cups in front of her. She wore jeans and a cream-colored sweater, her hair loose around her shoulders. She looked relaxed, comfortable in her own skin in a way that Vincent envied. "I took the liberty of ordering for you," she said as he approached. "Dark roast, no sugar. I hope that is still your preference." Vincent paused halfway into his seat. "How did you know that?" Claire's smile was gentle. "Mr. Patterson's class, remember? You always had coffee during morning discussions. You once told Jessica Mills that sugar ruined good coffee." The details she remembered, Vincent sat down, amazed at the details she had retained. "You remember what I said about coffee from almost 20 years ago?" "I remember a lot of things," Claire said simply. "When you spend time being invisible, you become an excellent observer. I noticed things about people because watching was safer than participating." She wrapped her hands around her cup, and Vincent noticed the silver ring she wore on her right hand. Simple, elegant, with a small green stone. "That is beautiful," he said, nodding toward the ring. Claire glanced down, a soft expression crossing her face. "My mother gave it to me the day I graduated from State University. It was her mother's ring, one of the few valuable things our family owned. She said I had earned it through determination and grace." A mother's legacy. Vincent heard the past tense in her words. "Your mother passed away?" Claire nodded, sadness and peace mixing in her expression. 5 years ago. But by then she had seen me graduate, seen me get my master's degree, watched me become the gallery manager. She died knowing I had built a good life." "Because of that day in the rain," Vincent said quietly. "Partially," Claire agreed, "but also because she raised me to believe that setbacks were not endings. That strength came from continuing even when everything felt impossible. You gave me the tools to move forward, but she gave me the foundation to build on." Sharing stories, they talked for over an hour, conversation flowing easily between them. Claire told him about the gallery, about discovering young artists and giving them their first exhibitions, about the scholarship fund she had established for students from low-income families who wanted to study art. "I see myself in them," she explained. "That hunger for something more. That fear that their circumstances will define their entire lives. If I can help even one person the way you helped me, then everything I went through had meaning." Vincent shared his own journey, building his tech company from nothing, the long nights coding, the failed pitches to investors, the moment his software finally broke through and changed everything. The emptiness of success. "But somewhere in the success, I lost something," Vincent admitted, surprised at his own honesty. "I stopped connecting with people. Everything became transactional. Every relationship was about what it could do for the business. I have money and recognition, but I cannot remember the last time I had a real conversation with someone." Claire listened without judgment, her green eyes understanding. "Except for right now," Vincent continued. "Sitting here with you, talking about things that matter, I feel more alive than I have in years. You reminded me of who I used to be, who I want to be again." The revelation. Claire reached across the table and placed her hand over his. The touch was warm, grounding, real in a way that cut through all his carefully constructed defenses. "Vincent, can I tell you something else? Something I have been nervous to share." He nodded, his heart rate picking up. "That day you helped me, when you drove me home, I did not just feel grateful. I felt something deeper. You were kind when kindness was rare in my life. You saw me when I was invisible. And over the years, as I built my life and achieved my goals, I carried you with me. Not just as a memory, but as a standard. A reminder that good people exist in the world. The truth between them." She took a breath, her fingers tightening slightly on his hand. "When I saw your name on the gallery guest list, my heart stopped. I spent 3 days debating whether to approach you, whether opening this door to the past was wise. But I had to know. I had to see if the man matched the memory. And does he?" Vincent asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Claire smiled, and it transformed her entire face. He is better than the memory, because now he is real, sitting across from me, being honest about his struggles, showing me that perfection is not required for goodness. Vincent felt tears threatening, emotion rising in his throat. I do not deserve this. I helped you once, yes, but it was such a small thing. You built this entire amazing life. That was all you. A different understanding. You are wrong, Claire said firmly but gently. It was not a small thing. It was everything. In that moment, when I was ready to give up, you showed me I mattered, that someone in this world cared enough to stop, to help, to see me as valuable. She leaned forward, her eyes intense now. Do you know how many people walked past me that day? How many saw me struggling and chose to keep going? But you stopped. That choice changed the entire direction of my life. Vincent turned his hand over, interlacing his fingers with hers. Then I am grateful. Grateful that I made that choice. Grateful that you found me again. Grateful that you gave me the chance to see what really matters, the weight of connection. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment. Hands joined across the table. Around them, the coffee shop continued its rhythm. People came and went. Coffee machines hissed. Conversations hummed. But in their corner, time seemed to slow. What happens now? Vincent asked finally. Claire considered the question. I think we see where this goes. No pressure, no expectations. Just two people who shared a moment long ago and are being given a chance to create new moments. Building something, New Vincent felt hope blooming in his chest, unfamiliar and wonderful. I would like that. I would like to know you, Claire. Not just the story of what I did, but who you are now. Your dreams, your passions, everything that makes you the remarkable person sitting across from me. And I want to know the real Vincent Hayes, Claire responded. Not the successful entrepreneur. Not the guy from high school. The person underneath all those layers. The one who is trying to find his way back to caring about what matters. They finished their coffee, making plans to meet again. Dinner next week. A walk through the sculpture garden Claire loved. Simple things. Building blocks of real connection. The gallery connection, as they stood to leave, Vincent had a sudden thought. Your gallery's scholarship fund. How is it funded? Donations mostly, Claire said. Some proceeds from sales. I contribute what I can from my salary. Why do you ask? Vincent pulled out his phone, typing quickly. I'm making a transfer. A significant one. Consider it a donation from someone who understands the power of giving people a chance. Claire's eyes widened as she looked at her phone, seeing the notification. Vincent, this is too much. I cannot accept this. Paying it forward? Yes, you can, he said firmly. You turned my small act of kindness into an entire life of helping others. Let me be part of that. Let me help you give more people the chance you were given. Tears spilled down Claire's cheeks, but she was smiling through them. You have no idea what this means. How many students this will help? I think I am beginning to understand, Vincent said. You taught me that kindness ripples outward. That one moment of caring can change everything. I want to be part of creating more of those moments. A new beginning. They walked out of the coffee shop together into the bright afternoon. The city moved around them, busy and indifferent. But Vincent felt different, lighter, more present, more alive. Claire turned to him on the sidewalk, the sunlight catching in her auburn hair. Thank you, Vincent, for stopping in the rain all those years ago, for coming to the gallery, for this donation, for giving me the chance to share my story. Vincent took her hand, feeling the rightness of the connection. Thank you for remembering, for not letting me forget who I can be, for showing me that success means nothing without humanity. The promise of tomorrow. They stood together for a moment, two people connected by past and present, by kindness given and received, by the possibility of something beautiful growing from old memories. I will call you tomorrow, Vincent promised. I will be waiting, Claire replied. As Vincent walked back to his car, he felt transformed. The businessman who had entered the gallery 3 days ago was gone, replaced by someone more complete. Someone who understood that wealth was measured not in money but in moments, not in achievements but in connections. not in success, but in the lives touched along the way. He looked back once and saw Claire still standing there, watching him with that gentle smile. And Vincent knew with absolute certainty that this was not an ending. It was a beginning, a second chance to be the person he had always meant to be. The woman who never forgot had given him the greatest gift imaginable. She had reminded him how to remember, how to care, how to see the people right in front of him who needed to be seen, and this time he would not forget. The end.